Victor Osimhen harika bir sezon geçirdi ve birçok gol attı. Galatasaray'ın onu kadroda tutması sizce ne kadar önemli? Sizce Galatasaray'da kalır mı?
Well, I mean, he's a fabulous player. 30-odd goals a game. Goals win you games. If you've got someone like him in the team, you don't have to be playing well to win games of football because he can produce a goal from anywhere. They would love to keep him, but I think it's only the very, very richest clubs out in Europe can afford him. You know, Napoli are going to ask for big, big money for him. Will there be a lot of takers? I would imagine somewhere in Saudi would be interested in him because he's when you're building a football team, the hardest thing to get is someone who puts the ball in the back of the net. And that's why generally they're worth more money than anyone else. So I would think he'll be of interest to maybe some Saudi clubs, maybe 2 or 3 there, and some of the bigger guys in Europe. But it really depends on what Napoli is. I don't know the inside track. Has he burnt all his bridges at Napoli? Could he go back there, given they won the title this year? Sounds like they didn't miss him. But then again, you can never have enough goals in your squad.
Real Madrid, Xabi Alonso'nun Carlo Ancelotti'nin yerine teknik direktör olacağını resmen duyurdu. Sizce bu değişim Madrid'in bu turnuvadaki ve gelecek sezonki performansını nasıl etkiler?
Yeah, but I think he needs help. I think they need more players. You know, I looked at them last year, and I think by their standards, doesn't mean they're not a good team, not a top team, but by their standards, I thought they were some way off it. I was disappointed in Jude Bellingham. His first year, he was tremendous. Very difficult for these young men today when you get that much success so early. You know, they get all that acclaim, all that fame, put on a pedestal. And sometimes when they don't treat every day as a school day, by that I mean turn out every day for work and wanting to learn something new, they can drop back a bit. And I think that's happened to him. I think with some of his quotes in the press, he was just talking a wee bit too much for my liking. But in there, that young man's got everything to be anything he wants. He's got that much ability, that much athleticism. I just think he has to refocus and start listening again to what people are telling him. Because at his age, what was he now, 20, 21? You don't know all the answers then. At 31, you don't know all the answers. He should treat every day as a school day.
Son zamanlarda Lamine Yamal için tarihin en iyi oyuncularından biri olacak dediniz. Ancak Jude Bellingham'ın davranışları konusunda endişelerinizi dile getirdiniz. Bunu biraz açabilir misiniz? Sahadaki tavırları sizi endişelendiriyor mu?
No one should be that good. No one should be that good. He is. You look at Dewey at PSG as well. You know, similar types, but just they're men already. They're dealing with the pressures of playing a big club, constantly under the spotlight. You know what people don't understand, when you play for a big football club, like Barcelona, every time they go out and play, it's a cup final for the opposition. It might not be for them, it might be one of the smaller teams in the Spanish league. Every game they play is a cup final. And he already looks like he can deal with that. And I just hope he doesn't get his head turned. I hope that you know, he keeps his focus, and again, he could be anything. We're talking about Doué, him, Bellingham. They're 3 players that could be absolutely anything they want to be over the next 10 years. If they keep wanting to learn something new every day.
Galatasaray'ın bu sezonki performansı hakkında ne düşünüyorsunuz? Sizce takımın başarısında en büyük etkiyi hangi oyuncu yaptı? Özellikle beğendiğiniz biri oldu mu?
Goals. Just goals again. They're the ones that stand out. Obviously I watch a lot of football, but when you watch a game and you think about it an hour later, it's the goals you think of more than anything else. So the goals are the outstanding aspect. I think they've had a fantastic season. It's very hard. You know, given that Fenerbahce changed the coach, had Mourinho, you'd have them fired up. You know, he tried many different tactics to try to create the balance of power in his favour. It didn't work. Galatasaray stood strong, got the results at the right time against them. And if you win the league not because you've been lucky, you win the league because you've been the best team over a very hard 9 months. And for them to keep doing it, as they are now, the manager should get tremendous credit for that. You know, still being able to light the fire under the players. And the players should take tremendous credit as well, because they're still motivated. It's not easy to win a league. And for a team like Galatasaray, who have been serial winners in recent history, they have to go again and have to do it again and again. It's hard to do that. And when you look at the championship race last year, where Fenerbahce pushed them and got a record amount of points, but still came second, they knew that challenge was coming again this year, and Galatasaray have responded really, really well to it. And that'll be there again next year.
Transfer hedeflerinden biri de Bernardo Silva. Sizce Silva Galatasaray'ın aradığı profile uyuyor mu? Mertens'in yerine iyi bir alternatif olabilir mi?
Silva is a great player. I'd take him every day of the week. You know, he's someone that, you know, because of his size, you think he's just a little dribbling type of player. He's a workaholic. Doesn't get too many goals. That'd be the only criticism I could offer. But looks to be a really, really good type. You know, he's been an absolute star for Man City. I would take him all day long. Really, really like him. That'd be a great sign for Galatasaray. Because he's the one I've seen more than Sane and Gundogan. I've seen him consistently turn up for Man City. And, you know, not that they went behind too much, but if they did drop behind in a game or it wasn't working, he was still offering himself up to get on the ball and make things happen. Fabulous little player.
Şu anda favori kaleciniz kim? Muslera'nın yerine önerebileceğiniz bir kaleci var mı? Aston Villa'dan Emiliano Martinez, Real Madrid'den Andriy Lunin veya Atletico Madrid'den Jan Oblak.
Well, the big shoes to fill. You know, this is a guy who's had the most success of any player playing in that league, and that's some achievement. 13 years with one club, he must have loved it. He's a lucky boy in that respect. He spent 13 years in Istanbul at Galatasaray. He'll be missed, but as I've said, big shoes to fill. There's other good goalkeepers out there, but I think he'll go down in Galatasaray history as, you know, we don't think it was a great, but he has to. You know, we think of goal scorers as great players, but he's been a truly great goalkeeper. Well, Martinez I see more of. It was a bit of a mystery why Arsenal let him go, but I think when you see some of his antics, I mean, all goalkeepers are slightly mad. He's properly mad. And when you mention his name, the first thing that comes into my head is antics when they won the World Cup for Argentina in Qatar, which is, you know, I hope he regrets that incident. But he's a top goalkeeper. Oblak, he's been great as well. Listen, whoever goes there is going to enjoy. They've got a top team, a team that's used to winning every week, a team that's got a great chance of winning the league again. But he's got big shoes to fill, whoever goes there.
Osimhen'in yerinde siz olsaydınız, geleceğiniz için nasıl bir karar alırdınız? Yalnızca daha yüksek maaş için Suudi Arabistan'a gitmeyi düşünür müydünüz?
Well, if he's 26 years old or 25 years old, he could go to Saudi in 5 years' time. I think for him, if he isn't going to stay at Galatasaray, then he'd be looking at someone like Real Madrid, Barcelona. He won't go to Liverpool. They wouldn't pay that kind of money for him, I don't think. Chelsea would possibly have a go because they need a striker. But there's only a handful of clubs he could go to. But then he knows, it's a couple of years he's been at Galatasaray. He knows what that football club's all about. He knows the passion that comes from the supporters. He knows how much he's loved by that group of supporters, and I'm sure he loves living in Istanbul. Now, he's contracted to Napoli, so they will ultimately make the call that suits them.
Premier Lig'de Liverpool şampiyon oldu. Sezonu kendi bakış açınızdan nasıl değerlendiriyorsunuz ve gelecek sezon için neler bekliyorsunuz?
Listen, this year for Liverpool was all the stars aligned for Liverpool. You know, Arne Slot deserves great credit, but he'd be the first one to tell you. Normally when you get a manager's job, it's because there's problems at the club. He walked into a club that was still doing that, still going forward. A group of players, established players that he knew were good enough for the Premier League, and young players that he could introduce slowly. He never got major injuries to any of his key men. And City imploded, which no one saw coming. And of course Arsenal, again, came up short at a vital time. So for me, all the stars aligned for Liverpool. The biggest challenge Arne Slot had at the start of the season was getting Van Dijk and Mo Salah to sign contracts. He's done that. And I think they're going to... The other beauty about him having that job, when he's walked in there, he didn't have to rush into anything. He didn't have to buy any players. He knew he had a really, really solid group that could possibly win the league, and it turned out that's what they did. But he's had a good look at what he needs, and I expect him to hopefully get the boy from Leverkusen and the boy Kirkes from Bournemouth that I've seen play. He's a really good left back. And they've taken Frimpong. So I think it's Liverpool are in a great place, and I'll make them favourites again next year. I expect Man City to spend again. And with our Arsenal, who desperately need... They get a disproportionate amount of points from scoring goals from set pieces. And they need a couple of strikers. Ones they've got are not going to take them to where they want to be. And where they want to be is to win the Premier League and the Champions League. I don't think they're good enough to do that with the current squad, and I think they have to invest in an Osimhen. Someone that's going to get you 20 plus goals. And I come back to that old argument. If you've got goal scorers, you don't have to play well to win football matches. Not every team goes out and plays well every time they play. But if you've got a goal scorer, when you're not quite on it, for whatever reason, he can win you the game because he'll get the goals.
Avrupa Ligi finali hakkındaki düşünceleriniz nelerdir?
I didn't watch it. I called it. I've said to myself, I won't watch that. And I do a column in a newspaper, and I wrote, I missed the first half of Galatasaray's game against Spurs in Istanbul. But I watched the start of the second half. Galatasaray could have scored 10 goals. It's not a throwaway line, this. Galatasaray could have scored 10 goals that day and start the second half. It was a ridiculous game of football. And Tottenham, to their credit, they've regrouped and somehow managed to win that game. But it was two very, very ordinary teams playing against each other. The 15th and 16th in the Premier League. That ain't good enough for those two big teams. So I chose not to watch it. It was a scruffy game and a scruffy goal. So I was told I made the right call by people who did watch it.
Manchester United'ın bu sezonki performansı ve kulübün şu anki durumu hakkında ne düşünüyorsunuz?
I quite like the manager the way he's operated. But then results are everything. These results have been terrible. The boy they're taken from Wolves, the Brazilian, he's a really good player. He'll make a difference. And they're also taking Mabueno from Brentford, or the link with him. He's another really good player. Man United's problems, recent historical problems, if that's not a contradiction, would be that the football decisions have been terrible. Who they've bought. You know, with McTominay, with the Serie A, with Napoli. They buy Ugarte, first Casemiro, 60 million. Ugarte for 40 million. So they spend 100 million and let someone go for 25 million who's better than both of them and younger. Maybe not Ugarte, but he was better than both of them. The football decisions at Man United in the last decade have been very, very poor. They've got Cunha, and if they get Mabueno from Brentford, they're two really good players. But they've got to be better than last year. They were so disappointing last year. And Man United, you know, has an argument for being the biggest football club in the world. It just ain't good enough. So I like the manager, but he's got to get results pretty quickly. He's got to have a good start and continue that. Otherwise, the pressure will be right on him.